All right, so this series we're going to be covering the body lock pass. The body lock pass is definitely one of my favorite ways to pass the guard. It's somewhat similar to passing through the half guard, but a lot of the setups are a little bit different, and the setups are often, when I get the body lock, it's not usually from within the half guard, it's usually beforehand in other guards where I try to set it up. And that's why I didn't include it in the guard passing anthology half guard, just because of most of the setups for it were not from within the half guard. That said, often once you get the body lock, you do then want to force yourself into the half guard and pass through there. So in terms of comparing the two series, this one's going to be a lot more narrow focus. So we're basically trying to get the body lock. There's only a few ways that people can defend this. They can have some very effective ways of defending, but there's not too many options. So it makes it easy to kind of create a good system from there, because you know exactly what to expect from your opponent, and each of those has a good answer compared to the guard passing anthology half guard, which is a more broad. We cover a much more broad amount of types of half guard to pass. So from within that, you can pick a few different pathways you like to pass from. For this one, it's very specific. We're getting our body lock and we're keeping it until we try to pass. All right, so what is the body lock pass? So we're gonna go through the body lock pass, but what is it? It's essentially when I'm able to lock my hands together and start to set up the pass. I'm locking my hands around the body. Usually we're going to pass through half guard, okay? So usually from here, we're gonna work to come over, pass through the half guard and work to end up in either side control or mount from there. So it's actually usually you use it to pass through half guard, but the actual pass itself, like the setup for it, for the actual body lock, is usually outside of the half guard. So I usually will set it up inside when I'm in the butterfly guard or headquarters, or going for a knee cut position, like against a knee shield. That's usually where I'll actually get my body lock set up. And that's why I didn't include it in the half guard passing thing, because the setup's very different, and you pretty much don't let go of the body lock once you've got it until you're passed all the way through. So where does the body lock pass fit into the overall passing system? I guess you can pass under the legs, around the legs, or try to go through the guard. You can actually sort of, if you want to, it's quite a safe way to pass the guard. It's often hard when you're trying to set up the body lock pass, it's often hard for your opponent to get a sweep on you, because you're constantly actually squaring up. You're not making too many angles, which often expose you to sweep. So often when I start trying to come out around the side, often that opens me up to like a leg entanglement or so on. Whereas with the body lock pass, often we're trying to keep square and kind of back relative to our opponent. Our weight's not forward on our opponent. Is actually quite difficult for the person to get the sweep. We often talk about layers of the guard. So you usually got to get past the line of the feet, then you got to pass the line of the knees, and then you got to sort of free yourself from there to pass the guard. This is generally for guard passing, whether you're passing around the legs or under or through, it all applies. For the body lock, we definitely have to pass the line of the feet. So you have to have the skills to be able to clear the legs out of the way and get to here. But often from there, it's actually at this point where I will set up my grip. Okay, so this is often before I've cleared the knee line, is often where I will get the grip. I will sometimes get it at the next stage when I have cleared the knee line. Sometimes they'll sit up and we get the grip. We're essentially in the half guard already, but majority of the time, what I'm looking to do is clear the line of the feet, and then look to set up to pull the opponent's knees away from the chest, and then catch the body lock as they sit up. So what are the pros and cons of using the body lock pass? Well, obviously the pro is that when you connect your hands together, it's much harder for the person on bottom to make distance. So one of the biggest problems when you do pass through half guard in particular is the person's, especially in no-gi, the person is trying to make space. Okay, so if I get into half guard here, Lockie's usually trying to push and frame and hip escape, and one arm holding like an underhook or maybe the head like this it's often somewhat easy to counter. When you lock your hands together, you've basically got a closed loop. So the strength of, like, his ability to break this grip once I've locked my hands is like now based on my grip strength, which is much stronger usually than just like a single hand pulling in. Once they're locked together, it's quite a strong grip to break. So when we get a body lock, it now becomes very difficult. Lockie can start pushing and trying to free himself, and I'm still going to be stuck to him pretty well. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why the body lock is really good. One of the cons of the position is you lose your base. Okay, so usually your hands, when we're passing, often we'll have, let's say I've got an underhook. I might have one hand ready to base, or even this hand that I've got the underhook, I can often use to post so that I don't get swept over. When you have the body lock, usually you want to keep it, and that means your ability to post and keep your balance is reduced. So you have to weigh that up, and it means you have to be very good at using your legs to balance and your head to balance, because you don't have your arms available to be doing that for you. All right, so there are a few stages you want to go through. We've got 5 stages actually that we want to go through to complete a body lock pass. The first one is I want to have the back exposed off the mat. Okay, you're not gonna, if the back is flat on the mat completely, it's gonna be very hard to connect your hands for a body lock. So we need to have a way, we'll go through a bunch of different ways of trying to make sure that their back is off the mat. Next stage is going to be connecting the hands. The stage after that is to clear the knee line. So you're going to choose that when you go your body lock, you'll have a side that you're going to go to. We're going to make sure we clear with our leg the line of the knee here. Okay. After that, my aim is now to free either my knee or my foot. So these can be like 1 or 2 stages to finishing this. So if Lockie locks up a half guard, then I have to free my knee, and then the last stage is to free my foot, and then I'm up. Okay. So there are 5 stages to the body lock pass. Sometimes you can kind of skip some of those stages too. Sometimes you'll do it in a little slightly different order, but generally you'll need most of those things to occur in order to get the body lock pass. So in terms of how this is structured, we're going to break it down into 3 stages in total. We'll talk about the 5 stages of the body lock pass, but the first stage in terms of these 3 stages we will actually be working with is the setup. So how do we get to the body lock, which involves 2 phases really, which was exposing the back, so getting the back off the ground, and actually connecting your hands for the body lock. So that's going to be the first stage. The second stage will be clearing the line of the knee. How do we go about getting our past their knee line? And then the third stage is how to pass once we've cleared the knee line. Now we're going to go through what I think is I'm just going to go through the most common scenario of how I will do the body lock pass with some details, just to give you a framework of how it's supposed to look. Obviously there's going to be a bunch of variables that can occur throughout that are going to change what happens here, but it'd be good to just get a good idea of exactly how I go about it, so that then it starts to make sense where things can be different. Okay, so most common scenario, I'm going to be here, I'll be standing, and I'm going to work through to enter into the body lock pass via a butterfly guard. Okay, so essentially, I say butterfly guard, you basically just want to stop one leg from being able to go onto the outside. That's all you need to focus on. I need to stop this leg going outside my hip. Okay, so I need to focus on that. Okay, if he gets this leg to the outside, then I won't be able to body lock on the side that I wanted to do originally anyway. Okay, so I'm going to be basically trying to body lock pass by moving in this side. Okay, now I need to be blocking that leg and getting an underhook with my other hand. Now I'm going to usually use my leg to take control of that leg. So I've used my hand, and now my leg's blocked. So if Lockie tries to take his leg out, my leg can block and I can let go, and now I use my arm again, but now it's like my elbow blocking the top of the thigh and preventing Lockie from freeing that leg, and also preventing him from bringing his knee towards his chest. Okay, so if his knee's up here, it's very hard to catch a body lock, and also easier for him to get it back, so I want to be pulling back against that leg. My head is going to be preventing Lockie from pushing at my leg and pushing at my arms, or at least helping in dealing with that. So when he tries to recover, it's going to be more difficult. Okay, so you can see my head here will work against it. Push on my leg. My head's on the wrong side, we can really push back and free that leg. Okay, so you have to have your head on the same side as the side you want to go to, but not too low that you're going to get caught in submissions. Okay. From here, I'm going to lock my hands together, but I still want control of this leg. Okay, so you'll see here when I lock, my right hand's gone deep as possible, and I'll link my hands together. Usually for me, I like to link just fingers because it gives me the maximum ability to block this leg still. If I link at the wrist, for example, you see I have no control of that leg. It's easier for him to recover. So I want to link as far back as I can, blocking that, and connect my hands here. Okay. After I've achieved this, I'm going to start to try to bring, my next aim is bring my left leg past Lockie's leg here. You can see while he's flat here, that's going to be a difficult task. In fact, I might get off balance and swept if I try to do that. So the hook's with me. Yes. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to have to turn his hips to the right, sprawl, but still keep pressure on that leg. I roll my hips, and I can step my leg past the line of that leg. Okay. Once I have that, I don't need this arm now no longer needs to control that leg because my leg is doing that. Okay. So if Lockie wants to bring that knee towards his chest, my leg is now stopping that. So I can switch. I can now put my head to the other side, and I can start to drive pressure forward with my shoulder. Okay. You'll notice my leg is still blocking Locke's leg from coming back in. Okay. From here, usually they will lock a half guard. This is a common half guard or butterfly. We'll just deal with the half guard as the common scenario. You will lock the half guard. I'm going to pinch my knees, tripod, roll my hips, and pummel my foot inside here. Okay. From there, I'm going to free my knee and start working to either side control or to the mount. Okay. Once more. Our common scenario. We get our head positioning, we block the leg, we get our underhook and jam, okay? Or it can be here, underhook and jam. And then we're gonna lock our body lock with our elbow next to the knee, connecting the hands on one side of the body, not in the center, but as far across the side as possible. I'm gonna bring lock to the side, switch my hips so I can step over the leg, change this position of my head so my left shoulder now drives in. I can start to tripod, pummel my inside foot in, bring my legs, and work to the mid, full side control. So what are some of the main issues that you'll run into, or what's the person on the bottom going to be trying to do while you're trying to do the body lock pass? Okay, so if Lockie goes for the body lock pass on me, there's a few things that are quite common for the person to work towards. Obviously, given that your hands are connected, one of the obvious ones is they're looking to butterfly switch so they can keep their left hook in. They can often start to take you over, so we have to be very aware of how to deal with a butterfly sweep. If the head's too far on the outside here, you obviously have to watch out for guillotine, arming guillotine as well. You'll get people who will tend to push and start looking to come over for omoplata, or sometimes just push your head away, and it's very hard to keep, if Lockie's trying to keep that body lock and I can push his head, that can be hard to hold. So we do need to be quite aware of when people are pushing our head. You get people who are doing something like a Z guard, and often from there, especially as Locke's trying to lock up the body lock, this can be a battle here where I'm trying to work my leg free, potentially for a triangle, or even less so, if I can just manage to get my bottom leg, as soon as my foot goes across the hip here, it's going to be very difficult for Lockie to body lock pass here. Okay, so if he does connect his hands, that just gives me the closed guard. Another one is the Kimura. Sometimes as you're going to get the body lock, people will look to sit up and get a Kimura grip. This can be particularly troublesome if they combo that with using butterfly hooks and trying to sweep you over with the Kimura grip and the butterfly hook. You'll have to learn how to deal with that too. Another way people might try to defend the body lock pass, as Lockie goes to step over my leg, sometimes people try to grab onto that leg as you step over. Okay, this can often let them start to pull you across and start to get a sweep to occur. From there, And late stage, once they've cleared the knee line, so let's put your head to the other side. Sometimes people will sit up and start doing like a wrestling sort of style switch sort of grip. Okay, so sitting forward and trying to reach underneath the hip from here. This is another way you'll encounter people trying to defend. All right, so how are we connecting our hands with the body lock? This really depends on the phase that you're at and what, like at different phases of the body lock, often you have slightly different objectives. Okay, so initially when I'm here, it's really important to to block the leg on the side that I'm going to. So I will have my hands as far across as possible. And for me, I like to connect my fingers together. Okay, I think when I first started the body lock, and I know a lot of people have told me this, they end up they feel a lot of pressure on their hands when they drive the person flat. Okay, so let's say I had this. I think a lot of people were putting their hands right in the center of the back, and it almost like crushed their hands, or especially if you're like this, they'd almost crush their own hands by using their weight like that. But at first stage, that shouldn't be an issue at all, because if you go sit back up, like my hand wants to be as deep as possible. There should be very little weight going through my hands here. Okay. And if you got really long arms, you might be able to get away with like a grip like this. That's fine. I think it's a strong grip if you can get that, and it's tighter, but you do lose the ability to control that leg. And I think it's so important to control that leg. So for me, getting the hands further back and around the corner as much as possible really is going to get be the best grip to use at first. Okay. So with my body lock grip, I'll tend to have my left arm because I want to be locking this leg in with my elbow. I'll tend to have my left arm palm up and my right hand palm down when I get this S grip. I find if you do the other way, when your palm's down, it's hard to get like a strong pull-in squeeze. When you palm up, you can get like a bit tighter with your pull-in this way. Okay, so if you have palm up with the left hand, I can lock my left elbow really tight against the leg. Palm down, I'm sure Lockie can tell you that's not as tight. Okay, so we can get a better grip like this. Now we'll turn this way. Once we've cleared the knee line and we start to bring our head to this side, like I tend to prefer to have like a forearm underneath the back, whether it's my right forearm or my left forearm. So I still don't have my hands in the center. I've taken my head to the other side. I'm happy to be here with my right forearm under the back, but I'd actually prefer my left forearm. So if Lockie sits up at all from here, get on your side, yeah, I will take my hands through to the other side. And for a position like this, I actually prefer a wrist grip like this as opposed to like the fingers. I feel like as I said, it's a tighter grip. You can see I can control his hip really tightly. If he tries to hip escape at all, I've locked that in. Whereas here will be it's less strong. If you hip escape, I've got less ability to stop that. So if I get the chance, once I've cleared the line on the knee and my head goes to the other side, if I get the chance when he sits up, I will get as tight of a grip as possible and start to pressure through here. Now see, again, it's not in the middle of the back where it could hurt my hands. It's really over the forearm. And the pressure will actually go I'll put the pressure on the upper body, and part of the aim of this is to like curve his back. Makes it very hard to bridge and move, and quite uncomfortable for the person on the bottom when you've got this scenario. So you can see like my hand's wedged under here and my pressure's over the top, a little higher through my shoulder to arch his back over my hand, which is what we want. Okay, so I wouldn't be here. This is not putting that same pressure. I want to have my shoulder coming forward and I'm tripoding into that, and that does get quite uncomfortable for the person on the bottom. Now, where do I want my grip to be? Almost always, generally, you want it low, okay? Especially at the start. I think a lot of people go way too high, and this is almost always one of the biggest problems. If I go here, I cannot control this leg at all. It wants to be low on the hip. That's where I'm trying to control it first. Again, once I've cleared the knee line, things can change a little bit. If Lockie sits up, I'm happy to move like a little higher. See my elbow flaring? So I'll probably still keep I'll keep the body lock low, but I don't mind moving my elbow a little higher so my shoulder pressure gets even higher and more pressure to keep him flat my legs are taking care of his legs, so I'm okay to do that from here. Okay. But just be wary. When you got double underhooks, it's fine. But if my shoulder ever slips higher than Lockie's shoulder, which we'll go over in a moment, the body lock doesn't work anymore. So move me around now. I lose position. Okay. So generally lower down with your body lock is going to be a stronger grip to take. All right, so when should you let go of the body lock grip? Okay, basically there's just a couple of scenarios where I would actually let go. The first is if this is the side I'm trying to pass towards. If he gets that leg past my hip, if he ever gets that leg past my hip, I have to let go. I can't body lock pass now on that side unless I deal with that. So I'm going to have to let go and use that hand to try to reclaim that again before I body lock. Okay. And that's at any stage during the pass. I could be like late stage pass here. He gets that leg back. I'm going to have to let go and start trying to deal with that. Okay. The other time to let go is if you feel that your balance you're going to lose balance, and it takes a while to get used to the feel for the balance from here. So expect to get swept a lot at first, and then less frequently, but still occasionally. Even when you get good at the body lock, it will still happen. If I'm starting to get off balance, I might have to let go and post. Okay, there's no point holding on, but being stuck underneath and holding on to them from there. Okay, so when you feel you're going, you just have to let go and post. And probably the only other one is maybe if they, some people do like a omoplata, gogoplata sort of thing. If their foot is in front of your face, like this, Lockie, yeah, he's got the flexibility. Okay, here, I probably should let go. There's we'll have a whole section on how to deal with the scenario like this, but generally if the foot's come all the way in front of your face like that, so it's now on the other side of my head, it's gonna be very hard for me to drive him back. It's probably better from here to let go and start trying to free yourself than holding on. So the positioning of my head is really important, and it's going to change a lot depending how our opponent's defending and depending on the phase of the pass. Okay, usually initially we're going to have the head on the same side as our hand grip. It's going to like when we're setting up our grip, and once we originally get our grip before we've cleared the knee line, this is going to help us stop Lockie from curling in and pushing. So he's trying to push at my legs, for example, with your hands. So yeah, I can use my head to keep him away. I can stop him sitting up with my head. So I tend to have it on this side. It just assists me with, because most of the action is going to be on this side with my leg trying to step over the top. Right. Your head position will change a little bit. If Lockie starts going for a guillotine, for example, I want to keep it a little more centered. Okay, so if he's trying to go for that, we want to go here. Right? The more he's pushing at my legs, so on the side, the more I want it to go down in front of the shoulder and opening that space up. Okay. If he starts trying to push my head away, then I often will start to lift. That's often a great opportunity to step over and clear the knee line, but we definitely don't want our head ever getting pushed away from the body. This is not good for the body lock. Okay? Once we're out here, we're in a fair bit of danger. Okay, so it's staying tight against the body, but if they ever start to push, we want to start taking it up and across towards the other side. Okay. Once we start to clear the knee line, or even before then, we'll often start to take our head to the other side. That can work as a post. I can put my head on the mat. It gives me a lot more freedom to move my feet and start working my feet from here. Sometimes you'll put it right underneath the chin in the center as well. So, Lockie might get 2 underhooks. Whenever I feel like he's going to bring me forward, I might use my head under the chin. Now let's turn as like a block. If he tries to bring me forward, he's just putting more pressure through my head into the chin, and my shoulders don't move forward. Okay. If it was here, he might actually bump me forward and I lose position. Okay. So generally, as we start to pass, we're either going head across, sometimes head into the middle. And then late stage pass, so I've cleared the knee line. If he starts to turn in towards me, so get up on your right arm. He starts turning this way. This is another time I'll often bring my head towards the inside, under the chin, to work through to pass. Right. So you're gonna have to change your head position a lot, depending on the way your opponent's defending and depending how far through the pass you are. All right, so we have to at all times, once we've jammed the leg that we want, we have to prevent it from recovering. There's a few ways we can do that, okay? Depending on like our, the available grips. So if I'm low down, sometimes it's just like I'll be making a cupping sort of grip like this, okay? So if I can stop, if Lockie can't bring his knee towards his chest, then he's gonna struggle to take that foot to the outside. So try and free your foot. Like if he can't bring that through, then I should be okay. I'm using my elbow as well. And obviously where I have stepped my outside leg is really important for that. Okay, if this one's back, he's gonna get that back really easy. Okay, this one has to be stepped forward and often a little bit wide. And I wanna kind of close that gap with my elbow to knee. So the only real way to recover here is gonna be to take his foot like past my shin, like that. Okay, which should be much more telegraphed. So if he's trying to do that, I can step my foot forward and make sure his foot doesn't block. Okay, if I give him a space here underneath between my elbow and my knee, he can take that and get it back there. Okay, so I can be blocking like this. Obviously, when we have the body lock itself, I don't have my hand there, I have my armpit. And I think this is one of the biggest mistakes people make actually, is there's definitely too much at the hips. Here I have no control of that leg, and he's gonna work to free that, okay? Sometimes they'll even hip out on your left hip, and that will give him space to free that foot, okay? So make sure like you're pulling the hips in, and like I'm pulling his hips towards me, but I'm also locking this elbow back. Free that leg now. Good. Okay. Anytime he gets on that side, I'll keep turning him on his right side. So start getting out on your left hip. I will turn him to the other hip because I want to make sure that my elbow is doing a good job at blocking that. Okay. Elbow and armpit. All right. Sometimes you get to the point, especially if he's blocked, I'm trying to get the body lock and he's blocking here. Sometimes you can use your left foot to hook like this, okay? So my right foot. Okay, I'm just hooking his leg a little bit, but you can see that can stop his knee from coming towards his chest. Okay, so if I bring my foot behind the ankle and kind of curl it out, this can be a block. It's not gonna hold him forever, but it's gonna give me a little bit of time. Maybe he was holding my wrist, I can break that, and then I'm back on to holding here. Whereas without that foot there, if I tried to break that, he might free the leg, okay? So sometimes he's bothering me with the grip, I can get my hook in, move, and then I work to come back and control how I want. And obviously, the last thing, that's all before we've cleared the line of the knee. Once our knee clears the line of the knee, we don't want to let that go back. While my hips are facing towards the camera here, Lockie can keep pushing at that leg to try to free it. Okay? So I want to pretty quickly be turning my hips the other way. Okay? You can see I'm pinching my knees together, my thighs tight, so if he tries to free that leg now, it's much more difficult to do. Okay? So here he's got something to push on. Here, he doesn't have anything really, like if he tries to push on my knee with that leg, for example, it's very difficult to get at, and I'm pinching. It's really important that you pinch your leg. So it's not just having this there, because hip escape, you can get that back, okay? It's having my right leg pulling back against that, like back and down, putting pinching pressure on the knee. Okay? That's obviously with the body lock, but I need to have that sort of pressure. Okay? Free that knee now. Even without my hands, gonna make that quite difficult. Sometimes when you're going for the body lock and the person's like, they know and they get their leg really wide, okay? So I can see here, like my ability to trap that with my left leg right now, like by going over the top, is really low. So if you go for close guard and I try and catch over the shin, that won't work, okay? So instead of going like out and over, I'll go inside and over. Okay, so as he brings his leg wide, my knee will come up and it'll switch out over the top. Okay, can you see the difference? So if we're here, instead of stepping, if I try to step over the foot, not gonna happen, okay? But instead, his foot comes over, but my knee comes on the inside. I drive that knee to the mat, and my foot comes outside, and now I've trapped the leg again. Early on, when we're entering for the body lock pass, often, like not always, but often one of the first grips we'll get is on the shin, just so that their foot doesn't go to to the outside of the leg. Okay, so often from here, when we're looking to hold the shin and then force the leg back in so that we can come across and control the knee line. This is also something we use late stage. If he manages to free that leg, then I'm gonna have to reach back, grab the shin. Okay, there's no point holding on to the leg here if his foot comes back across. Okay, so it's almost like an early Sao Paulo pass that we're trying to do before he's locked his feet together. I'm already starting to look to step over and track the leg again. Okay, so again, if we're here, he starts to free his leg, I'll be looking to catch that shin and step over it again. So an important thing to understand if you want to do body lock passing is how to deal with butterfly hooks. We're going to have a section on dealing with the butterfly guard, so we'll cover this in detail there. And also, there's kind of like, there's the butterfly guard and then there's half butterfly. So there's a few different areas throughout the pass that people might be using butterfly hooks. Okay, so it can be early on or it can be even late stage in the pass. People can start using butterfly hooks to annoy you. So it's important to understand how to deal with the butterfly hook. Basically, I do not want my weight on to be too much forward. Okay, if my weight's too forward, his hook can really lift. So I need to have my weight back. I'm quite low down on the hips here, and you can see I've sagged my hips back. So lift me with that hook now. It'll be much more difficult. I'm on my own weight here, not any weight driving into locking. Definitely never try to kick off a butterfly hook until you've turned their hips or turned your hips to the correct direction. So if I try to back step kick off, that's going to be bad. Okay, he's gonna sweep me over pretty easy. I can sprawl backwards. Seems clear. Let's have a look on the other side. So from here, what I can do is sprawl backwards. Okay, you lift me with that hook. Okay, so you can't move me with that hook, and now I can start to turn my knee inwards and start sliding to the side. Okay, try and follow me with that hook. That can slip off nice and easy. Okay. So I'm actually turning my hips to my left, not my right, to get off it. Did you notice that? So again, bad idea to turn this way to try to kick off. Yeah. If I go back and actually turn my hips to my left, this way, very hard to use that butterfly hook well. Okay, try and sweep me. Yeah. Usually it's gonna help me if he actually tries to keep using that butterfly. He's usually better off letting go and going for like a half guard or some other sort of attack with that leg. Another principle, which is really important, especially when we get into the half butterfly, is turn their hips away from you. So let's say I've got the body lock here. I want to be stepping and turning that leg away. Okay, so I've taken Lockie's, see his knee now points outwards. Okay, it's really important that I do that. Do not try and kick off the butterfly hook, especially in like a half butterfly, because I'm a bit more loaded on him here. It's not so easy to sprawl backwards off this one. My weight, my upper body is actually attached to his. It's really important that I don't try to just kick off here. Okay, I have to turn his hips first. Okay, once I've turned his knee to point outwards, we'll go over ways to deal with that, to do that later. Once I've turned his knee outwards, I can kick, and it's very hard to track. Okay, if he goes to track that, then I can start to free myself from that hook. So with our weight distribution, generally I want my weight back and low until I clear the knee line. Once I clear the knee line, then I want my weight on my opponent, wherever we're setting it up from. Okay, so whether it's from the butterfly guard here, or could be in the, like the Z guard or whatever. If I catch the body lock, I generally want my weight low and back until I beat the line of the knee. Okay, once I've beaten the line of the knee, I then want to start driving my weight through my shoulder onto lock. One thing that we'll use is a tripod. Okay, what the tripod does is it allows us to bring our hips and our legs closer to our opponent without losing a lot of tightness in our position. Okay, so if I go here, I can often start to walk forward, and it lets me see my feet and my knees are starting to come closer. So now it lets me kind of stay tight with my legs as I start to work to free them. Okay.
if I stay back here, I've got too much gap between my feet and my knees. The Lockie, if I start trying to free my leg here, he'll often recover. Okay, so by going into the tripod position, I get to start to bring everything closer, but still maintain the good pressure and start to work yourself out of position.
We're just going to cover what I think some of the most common mistakes people make are when they first try to do the body lock. One of the most common, I think, actually this is probably the most common, is people lock like here, okay? Too high on the back. All right, so calling out the body lock pass, it maybe even almost should be called the hip lock pass. Maybe that would get people more likely to get the correct grip at first, okay? So if you grip here, I have no control over Lachlan's right leg here. So if he moves his leg around, he can free that leg. Okay? You really need to have this grip blocking that. And then, so you can see my hands really turn around. My hands pretty much go through like the back of the hips here, not up here. Okay, so of course, sometimes your hands will get caught higher, and it's not the end of the world, but often if you are actually up here, what you'll be doing is posting on the mat to bring yourself back and lower to get better gripping lower down, okay? Another really common problem is people drive forward. That's it, where they get the body lock, and then as they're trying to pass, it's like, as they're trying to clear the knee line, so keep your knee tucked, you're just driving forward like this. You see, as I drive forward, his knee also comes high, okay? So we go back. I'm driving forward and the knee's coming forward, and I'm not making it any easier to clear the knee line if that happens, okay? So what I want to do is get my head in position and actually have my weight sagging back, okay? Pull your knee to your chest, okay? As I sag the weight back, even moving backwards and squaring up, that's going to give me a better chance at clearing the knee line. All right, so one of the most common issues people have, and I think this is a really important point, is like we're gonna have to clear the knee line at some point, and the concept to be aware of, just give me the body lock, jump down, is how like high this thigh is. See, if the thigh is vertical, look how high I have to step up to get over the knee line, okay? I have to really like overcommit my balance, right? I'm really trying to, if I can, pull the foot away and the knee down. Like if I can, I'd get in here, okay? If I could straighten that leg out, that would be the easiest way to clear the knee line. I basically don't have to lift my weight at all, okay? Often it won't be so dramatic as that, but we're gonna be using our legs and mostly my body weight sagging back to take that thigh more in the horizontal plane, okay? The more you can do that, the easier it is to step over, and the more it's like this, the harder it is to step over, okay? So that will be using my body weight, and also, see how his foot can go on the ground, and that will stop it. So then I need to take his foot away from the ground so I can drop that back further and get over that leg. So obviously, most of the time I'm sagging my weight back here, trying to like work to step over the knee line. But sometimes you'll often be using your elbows for balance as well. Okay, so let's say Lockie's like trying to off balance me to this way. Often my elbow can come out and post on the mat too. Okay, so just you have to weigh it up. Often we're looking to control. If my legs are controlling Lockie's legs and I feel like I'm losing balance, I definitely can open my elbow. That can let me settle again, and then I can come back to controlling the leg until I step over. Okay. Obviously, once you've stepped over as well, now you can play a much larger role with your elbows to keep your balance. So the best way to learn the body lock, I think, is like try it out. Grab some training partners, try it out, and whatever you're getting caught in, try to isolate that thing with your partner, especially at first. So like, let's say I'm going for the body lock and Lockie keeps getting an omoplata, you know, he keeps getting his leg over the top and omoplata. Okay, like in this series, I obviously go over how to deal with that, but there's a lot of variables you have to think about at once. It's often better to just isolate the variable that's giving you a problem. Okay, so then I would say, Lockie, okay, just try to omoplata me. You can't do any other attacks. I'm going to work out like where my positioning needs to be to make sure that move doesn't happen. Okay, so then now I go from here and Lockie goes to omoplata, but now I have better head positioning, for example, and it starts to work for me. And then I go, okay, but now when we start rolling again, there might be a different problem he presents, but I know how to deal with one of them now. I know how to deal with the omoplata, but he then might recover his bottom leg back to guard. And then I say, okay, now try to recover your bottom leg, and I'm going to learn how to deal with that. And then eventually, as you get better at it, you can start adding more variables at the one time. You can, okay, try to omoplata me or recover your bottom leg. So start building from there. Eventually, you'll feel that in live sparring, you know how to deal with all the possible things that they're going to provide against you, and then you don't need to get that same feedback. As you get more advanced with it, you just go, okay, he did this to me, next time I'm going to put my weight more here, and I know that will stop the move that they used to beat me, and that's how you kind of progress from there. But it's good to start out in that way. Obviously drill a lot at first too. Another good way to learn the body lock pass, I think, is to learn from the stages, but starting towards the end and then going back. So actually start with the knee line cleared, you've got the body lock, and you're just trying to free your leg and finish the pass. I think if you get confident in your finishes, it's going to make you want to be there in rolling. Okay, so if you know that, if you first get confident that, hey, when I get the body lock and I get into their half guard, I've got a good chance at finishing. It'll take you a bit to develop that skill, but once you know that, you're going to start looking for the body lock no matter where you are in rolling. Okay, then after that, you start working, okay, what if I've got the body lock but I haven't cleared the knee line? How do I do that? And then obviously from there, it's going to be how do I actually get the body lock, and you start looking for that. But if you start from the end first, like the end stage, build confidence in your finishes and then work back, I think that's a really good way to go about it.